Good morning.
Hello, everyone. Going to give folks another minute to join. We're also watching the moving folks over from to panelists here.
Morning, Jeanette.
Hey, Scott, thank you. We're just moving some folks over. I'm going to undo your, there we go. Moving folks over from to panelists here.
Morning, Jeanette.
Scott, thank you. We're just moving folks over. I'm going to undo your. See, we have one. We just need one more board member to join, and we should be have a quorum. But Superintendent, if you would like to start, we can go ahead and just do the welcome, and I'll move people over as they join.
Okay. Well, let me pull up my agenda here. Screaming into this, I do apologize. Bit sketchy as I left the schools today and had a little bit harder time getting here than I anticipated. Miss Senna, perhaps you can get those city buses to get out of my way when I'm driving around town as well. So be very helpful. Anyways, it's good to see you all. I'm glad you all are here. I'm really glad our community school coordinators are checking in. It's been a great start to the year, and I'm really glad they're able to join us. So welcome to all of you. We have a pretty positive agenda today, and I look forward to hearing a lot of the reports. I believe the only voting item that we have in front of us is approval of the June 2021 board minutes. So did anyone have any corrections or additions to the minutes? Did you want to take a minute to review them? Assuming no revisions, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make the motion. This is Barbara Peterson.
Could I have a second?
I'll second. This is Sasha.
Thank you, Sasha. And at this time, everyone who is in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Wave at me, make some sort of signal. And those opposed, we would need to hear if you're opposed to the minutes. All right, so our minutes are approved. So our first agenda item is a community school strategy bright spot led by Ms. Townsend. So thank you.
So I'm going to turn it directly over to Counselor Senna, and she's going to talk to us about an amazing collaborative leadership opportunity that we were able to participate in from the systems level. So Counselor?
Thank you for that, Danette. I am here to really talk about the efforts that have been going on for quite some time and will continue as there has been a great need in terms of housing stability and really emergency eviction prevention. So I'm going to talk first about why housing stability matters. For those that don't know, I'm city councilor, and before that, I used to actually go and advocate for policy specifically for those impacted by cancer. I've been a cancer patient for the last 10 years and still going through chemo treatment. And really how I got into policy to begin with was when my grandfather was diagnosed with stage 3 kidney cancer. When he passed away, because actually we couldn't afford his treatment rather than it was his cancer that did his, that caused his passing. It really put us into question about mortgaging our house. And my grandfather did not want us to do that and put a household of 16 on the streets because of that. So he did not choose to go through treatment and passed away. And every time I think about housing stability, I think back to 1994 when he passed away, that if it had not been really the sacrifice that he made, the future of 16 of us, including myself, would not have been really the way it is today. My brother would not have been able to join the Air Force. He probably would have had to start working or do whatever means that he could. My sister would not be able to become a doctor that she is today on the front lines of COVID. So when we think about housing stability, it has a different picture than what we all can really imagine. And that brings me back to really what we're facing today. Although it's not a cancer diagnosis, but it is a dire diagnosis of COVID, of really the impacts of COVID and what it could mean, of really what poverty and an exacerbation of that through a chronic illness or virus and disease like COVID-19. So I am very happy to be partnering up with Senator Heinrich's office, Senator Ben Ray Lujan's office, Representative Stansberry's office, Department of Finance and Administration, the city, the county, the New Mexico Coalition to End Homelessness, and the Roadrunner Food Bank, UNM School of Law, really coming together to get out the assistance where it's needed. The Treasury enacted $170 million for the emergency rental assistance. And I know that part of that funding was granted to the city as well. So we're really trying to push it out that if you're facing eviction, that there are means to really prevent that. And we're here to help you through that application. So really to get into the weeds of how this was all brought together, I'm going to turn it over to Nick Maestas from Senator Lujan's office.
Thank you, Counselor, and good morning to the board. My name is Nicholas Maestas, and I'm a field representative for Senator Ben Ray Lujan. So thank you for having me join today's meeting. I wanted to just give a couple of highlights about our experience and our work with ABC Community Schools Partnership over the last couple of years. Initially, our office, I was with the senator when he was in the House, and we had worked together to bring together a housing roundtable. And ABC Community Schools Partnership was very valuable in bringing together nonprofit partners throughout the region to have a very productive conversation together with HUD and with some housing leaders in the community to identify issues that housing instability has for families, for students, and what kind of impacts those have on our community as a whole. And so through that relationship that was built back at the beginning of 2020 and into this year, as the American Rescue Plan was passed through Congress and was made available to states, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program and the need to get the money to families and individuals who needed the resources. Again, working together with ABC Community Schools Partnership, we've been able to really connect with other nonprofit partners in the region, including the Roadrunner Food Bank, to put together an event over the last few weeks now that we've been able to sign up several hundred families or applicants for assistance through the program. And so it's been a very valuable partnership that we've been able to establish. And so working together with the state through the Department of Finance Administration and working together with other nonprofit partners, it's been really helpful to get the money to those in need. And so I can look forward to continuing to benefit from this partnership that we've built and continue to work together with ABC Community Schools Partnership and our other partners, including the Office of Senator Martin Heinrich and Officer of Representative Melanie Stansberry, and the county and the city have been valuable partners as well in this process. So really appreciate the opportunity to share just a little bit about the Emergency Rental Assistance Program and how our office has been able to work together with the ABC Community Schools Partnership in this process. And I think I'm passing it over to my colleague, Ms. Elsa Menendez from Senator Heinrich's office.
Thank you so much, Nick, and good morning, everyone. Thank you also, City Councilor Senna and everyone from ABC Community Schools Partnership. I'm super honored to be here this morning. I'm a big fan of the Community Schools Partnership and really delighted to represent Senator Heinrich this morning. We also began our relationship of dialoguing more intensively around the housing issues last year in 2020 when Deanna Crichton-Cook from ABC Community Schools Partnership contacted our office, and we started having regular meetings to discuss the concerns and the issues coming up as the pandemic unfolded. And we've continued to meet really regularly. And out of those meetings, we've been drawing in other community partners and working alongside the Department of Finance and Administration. And as Nick mentioned, many, many other partners, including the New Mexico Coalition to End Homelessness, ABC Community Schools Partnership, Sergey Martinez from UNM School of Law, and then also just being in contact with through these dialogues, beginning to think about how to support the efforts to get the word out about the emergency rental assistance and utility assistance program. And out of those conversations, the recommendation came to the ideas came, I think it was out of conversations in part with Deanna and DFA, and to do this collaboration with Roadrunner Food Bank, with their existing food distribution event that was happening weekly at the Expo New Mexico. And it's just been a real pleasure to be collaborating with such committed and dynamic partners like DFA, like Bernalillo County, like Senator Lujan's office, like Representative Stansbury's office, like Expo New Mexico and Roadrunner, and of course ABC Community Schools Partnership. So we've just been really proud and excited and galvanized to do these events and to be able to do hands-on support of some of our constituents who are needing assistance right now. And we're looking forward to ongoing events. And I'll just highlight one more event coming up. And there's a question that just popped into the chat too, but just to let you know that next week we will be doing another partnership at the Expo New Mexico Roadrunner Food Bank distribution on Tuesday the 17th. And that, again, we'll have a whole team that is with a lot of wonderful people from DFA and volunteers that are being organized with all of our partners. And that will be another on-site application clinic. I know that Councilor Senna was at the very first one, right in there with the cars, getting people to sign up on applications. So we'll be doing it again next week, on the 17th. And both Representative Melanie Stansbury and Senator Martin Heinrich will be there in attendance. And of course, Nick Maestas will be there to represent Senator Lujan, who will be in the southern part of the state. And then I'm seeing this question. So we welcome you to help spread the word about that event, where we will be able to sign more people up into the ERAP program. And I see a question: is there help for landlords who have not received rent from tenants for over a year and are behind on mortgage payments? Yeah, so there are a variety of ways to get support for landlords, either through the emergency rental assistance program, working with the tenant. But there is, I think, I'll also turn my attention and let some of our other panelists talk about working specifically through maybe the homeowners assistance fund that's coming up. There'll be another application process hopefully at the end of this month, beginning of next. So I'll pass it over to the next person. I'm not sure if I'm passing it to you, Sophia, or am I passing it to Bree? I'm just looking at the list.
Please pass to Sophia, thanks.
Okay, Sophia, you're on. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sophia, and I'm here with the Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury's team. And the Congresswoman would like to thank everyone for their willingness to help fellow New Mexicans. We are dedicated to helping those in need, and COVID has presented some unprecedented challenges. We need to ensure that New Mexicans in need benefit from the Emergency Rental Assistance Program funds, and we are here to help ensure that all of the allocation is used here and not returned to the Treasury. So that was my quick message from the Congresswoman. And yeah, she will actually be there on the 17th in person helping people register for rental assistance. And I believe I'm passing it on to Bree Sillery.
Hello, can you all hear me? Wonderful. Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for putting this presentation together and including me in it. My name is Bree Sillery. I'm with the New Mexico Coalition to End Homelessness, and this has been a really fantastic experience. Just on a personal level for me, you know, I've been working at home for a very long time, and I think, like many of you, we've been hearing the constant calls and feeling the realities of people falling into homelessness or at threat of homelessness through eviction at this time. So being able to be part of a organically grown event like this that had such an impact was really meaningful to me as a person, and I definitely saw that reflected in some of the other volunteers that were present as well. There was definitely no shortage of volunteers because people are so willing to jump in and help get the word out and help people get through the application process that is really intimidating to navigate without support. So I'm really thankful for everyone who helped put this event together and support the event and support us and the volunteers. And it's just been really, really very fantastic. It's the first time I've really been a part of such an organic, large collaboration, all the way from the federal support to local state support and city support, and it's been really fantastic. I also wanted to jump in and answer the question in the chat box as well for the help for landlords who have not received rent from tenants. I would really say one of the best answers is to encourage landlords to work with their tenants to do the applications. This is a great way to build that landlord-tenant relationship, but also to ensure that the tenant is being able to get all the documents that they need to officially finish the application. The stronger the application is when it's submitted, the stronger the chances are of approval for those funds, and those funds are paid directly to the landlords. It's really fantastic. And just a quick story of the first day that we did the event, we had a landlord that drove through the lane and asked for 5 applications to take to her tenants and said that she was going to be working on helping them with their applications so that they could stay home. And all of them were at least 6 months behind on rent. So that was a really fantastic experience as well. I don't think I even was able to tell anybody that until just now, but it was really a heartfelt experience. And then I also wanted to thank the extra efforts of both Counselor Senna and the other language interpretation folks that came by to provide support both in Spanish and Vietnamese. I don't know if there was any other languages that were represented, but there was an extra effort to make sure that this application and the assistance was available. And we also had access to the DFA's language assistance line if we did fall into a situation we didn't have language interpretation readily available in person. And we used that at least once. That was a fantastic resource as well. But with that, I like to, oh, I see that somebody else just said that she also witnessed a landlord come through to get information for some of the tenants at the first event. So that's wonderful. That's really wonderful. I'm really happy about that. All right, I will go ahead and pass to the next person. And Katie, who I'll go ahead and pass off to you.
Hi, it's Marcus. I'm here in Katie's place from Roadrunner Food Bank. I just want to talk a little bit about the positive experience and why we decided to partner up. Many of the individuals and families that have been consistently utilizing our food distribution at Exmo, New Mexico, are, you might imagine, struggling to pay other bills, and rent's one of the largest ones that people have. So it seemed like the perfect opportunity to provide additional resources. Just a little background, the Expo New Mexico distribution only came about because of the pandemic. Roadrunner itself did not put on distributions. We have partner agencies that do that, but we saw the massive need, and Expo New Mexico was gracious enough to let us use their facilities, and we at certain points serving 1,800 families during the height of the pandemic. So we thought the opportunity to make this a one-stop shop for people to also be able to engage in rental assistance was the perfect opportunity. The long-time relationship between Roadrunner and ABC Community Schools has been a great partnership as well. Many of the community schools in Albuquerque actually host a food distribution monthly, and Roadrunner is really proud to say that that distribution at all of those schools are at completely no cost to the schools or the children or anything like that. It's completely internally funded because we recognize the need to address childhood hunger. And the community schools focus on meeting the needs of the entire family. So again, joining together with having the distribution with ERAP just made perfect sense to us as we internally, we also forward people to ERAP because we have a client services area in our community initiatives department. So if people come to the website for assistance or they call our virtual center for assistance, we can provide them access to these resources as well. So it's been great for Roadrunner, it's been great for our clients, and we think it's been just a very positive relationship. And so I guess I will pass it to Sergey Martinez.
Hey, hi friends, I'm Sergey Martinez. I'm on the faculty at UNM School of Law. You've seen me before if you've been to any of these meetings. And I'm excited to be here to tell you a little bit about, I guess, what we did. I don't know if I've heard this so far, so let me give a little bit of background about what happened with this. But for the last year and change, Deanna Creighton and many others and I have been working on efforts to try to draw attention to the public health relevancy and criticalness of housing stability, and trying to make sure folks understand the need to make sure that we're not removing people from their homes during a pandemic, and in my thinking, any other time, because housing is a human right. But with respect to the ERAP, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, when that was announced, Deanna, with her customary creativity and desire to figure out new things, started thinking, what is the best way we can connect people with this? And having a drive-through event was one of the first things that she came up with, and was able to connect with the folks at Roadrunner to say, hey, y'all have all these people coming every week. Is there a way we can try to connect them with this rental assistance? And so for several weeks, going out there to Roadrunner's event and trying to stay out of the way of Roadrunner's food distribution while helping people understand that this money is available and helping folks apply for it has been a really exciting experience. As y'all might know, as a lawyer, I work in the law clinic over here. We represent folks who are being evicted. And even though there is a stay right now from the New Mexico Supreme Court, not everybody is protected by that, and not everybody knows about that. And so as part of this event, we were also able to talk to anybody who was facing eviction or had a hearing coming up. And at the most, I guess a couple weeks ago, we had one person show up on a skateboard, which I think is not traditional drive-through clinic transportation, but we certainly were welcome. We're excited to see him and welcomed him, who was facing, he had a court hearing in a few days. And I was able to sit down with him and go through the papers and talk about what he was, what to expect and what this all meant and what the stay is with the state. It was a great opportunity for me to be able to connect with somebody who was facing these very real pressing issues, and as part of this larger event, to really, again, leverage the connections that ABC Community Schools has with the community to be able to get out that knowledge and services that we have. So I've really been, delighted by the success of this and the promise of this event and this sort of model, and thinking about ways to try to get information and resources where they need to be going forward, and really have found this to be a productive partnership, as always, with ABC Community Schools folks. Donnie Quintana, I think you're next on my list.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me okay. Elsa, if you can give me a thumbs up that you can hear me, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Boy, it is really inspiring and exciting to hear you all speak this morning. And thank you all for giving me an opportunity to join you. It's really refreshing to see the amount of partnership, collaboration, and coordination that the state of New Mexico can pull together once we have the opportunity to work with one another. It reminds me of a quote from Abdul Jabbar that says, "One man can be an important ingredient of a team, but one man cannot make a team." And I think we all can attest to the fact that with the partnerships that participated in this event, tremendously illustrate a team effort, and really applaud everyone for their participation. We at the state of New Mexico are doing everything we possibly can to ensure that every New Mexican that could be eligible for this program submits an application, gives us the opportunity to assist them. This morning I was on a call with the Supreme Court, Justice Bacon, and we are working with the Landlord Association, we are working with the Renters Association, the Apartments Association, to really bring to the table all the stakeholders and all the folks that are needed to ensure that we maximize and optimize the use of the funds, and more importantly, the outreach effort, and with the ultimate goal of getting folks to submit an application and give us the opportunity to assist them. And events like yours and future events are definitely a force multiplier, if you will, in allowing us to get there and achieve that ultimate goal. I will suggest to you that right now we need to really keep the pedal to the metal. This is the fourth quarter of the game, and we have the opportunity to really put our best foot forward, to continue to put our best foot forward and help as many New Mexicans as possible through the program, as well as illustrate to the Department of Treasury that we have hit our 65% obligation goal by the end of September. Therefore, asking them to allow the state to continue the program until we exhaust our funds. And if there is a possibility to ascertain additional funding, then we definitely would be in a position to ask for additional funding. So ultimately, we help all New Mexicans. And it takes a grassroots effort. It takes folks beating the path. As I would suggest to soldiers in the battlefield in Afghanistan, wars aren't won by colonels and generals sitting in the back. It's won by the privates and the sergeants and the captains that are on the battlefield. And you all have illustrated that you have the ability to be the foot soldiers, to get the word out and actually be at where the rubber meets the road, right? It's one thing to advise folks of the program. It's another to actually get an application submitted. Early on, the strategy the state incorporated was let's get the horse to water. Let's get an applicant to our application. Our mantra now is let's get the water to the horse. Let's do everything we possibly can to get the application in front of folks so that they can submit their application. And I applaud the folks that recognized a targeted population that could benefit from this program, traditionally are facing many other social challenges, and therefore it may be an essence of time on their part. When do I have the time to complete the application? And if somebody can assist me and get me through the process, and we're balancing between being efficient and getting the funding out, and unfortunately making sure we mitigate the risk of fraud. We don't want to put the money in the hands of people that aren't deserving of it. And unfortunately, in the world today, there are plenty of folks that see this as an targeted opportunity to capitalize on federal funding and taxpayer money that they aren't deserving of. So with that, again, I really want to applaud you all. Look forward to future events. Definitely thank you all to ABC Community Partnership for the leadership and the vision and the initiative to take action as well as our congressional delegation. You all have been tremendous in support and, more importantly, in action, right? So thank you so much for taking a concept and a discussion and putting it in motion, and more importantly, putting it into action. So with that, again, I thank you all. I look forward to future events. Definitely will do my best to get out there next Tuesday and be encouraged and inspired by all the work and all the efforts that you all are putting forward. So unless there's any questions of me, thank you so much. I'm not sure who I pass it on to. It may be Dan. If so, whoever's next in line, please take the mic, if you will. Thank you all so much.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I'm Dan Beeman from Bernalillo County Economic Development. And just making sure that I got my camera set up okay. So with the ERAP 2 funds, we received a $5 million grant for unincorporated Bernalillo County. Of that amount, we've already received a $1.5 million check from the Department of Treasury, which we've been able to disperse in the neighborhood of $400,000 at this point. So we're out here where the rubber meets the road, putting the money in the hands of landlords whose tenants are past due on their rent, and also utility providers. One of the challenges that we're having is eligibility, and because the city of Albuquerque and different tribes receive their own allocation, we can't process their applications. However, we're receiving a great number of applications for the city, for example. So the more that we can get the word out in terms of the funding coming from the particular jurisdiction where the residence is, the more we can be available to those unincorporated areas of Bernalillo County. So that's pretty much it overall. We've seen a lot of good success stories. We you run across everybody, all walks of life, doing this, from the tenants who need the assistance, to the landlords who are cooperating and participating. And there's documentation to be put in place, to vet the applicants, to vet the landlords. And it's quite an effort. We have an office of 6 in our department, and we have several contractors also that are assisting us with Spanish-speaking individuals and to get the process going. So that's just an overview. We have participated in the expo, and we will again for the next one coming up. So I don't have anything specific more to share. I wanted to keep it brief and just kind of high level. If anybody has any questions for me, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, I can hand over the mic to the next person. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I want to say that the reason that this is so relevant to community schools is that we have a goal at the ABC board level to really affect systems change. And one of those ways that we do that is at the school, of course, right? The way that the schools work, Deanna, can you move the slide forward? The way that the schools work in a collaborative leadership fashion, and they focus on that along with leverage, right? This is why we think community schools work, is because we can leverage the resources, both human and financial, of multiple organizations, multiple people, to effectuate change for the communities that we are working and serving in. And this is a beautiful example of how that happened. A huge number of partners that came in to this work, including the community school coordinators, almost all of those volunteers that were doing the applications, which were about 150 applications in 2 events, were community school coordinators. And the critical piece of that is that they are relationship builders. Their primary role in their job is to coordinate resources and build relationships with people and organizations. And this is a beautiful example of how well they do that. As well as, of course, Expo New Expo, New Mexico, is right in the middle of one of our zones in APS that has 16 community schools that are active right now, more soon to be as soon as the coordinators get on board. And they are building relationships with people who also live in those communities that may go to their schools. And we're making sure that rising tides lift all boats with this work. Community schools are built on two critical practices: collaborative leadership and leverage. How do we make the most of what we already have and what we have access to? So one of the things that we have been working on, as the board knows, is the concepts of collaborative leadership. And what we see here in this initiative is three critical pieces of these concepts. First and foremost, our schools, our communities being all a part of an ecosystem where we are looking at mutually beneficial supports that are aligned towards a community-wide vision. In this case, stabilizing families, food, legal assistance, housing, all of those things in one place for families who are already struggling and not needing to be running around the city chasing down resources. It's a beautiful opportunity. This impacts our education system and the outcomes for our students. Processes and structures, how we work with a group of folks within a structure to leverage their resources towards a single vision. But this means that the systems themselves, the organizations themselves, have to allow for the people within them to be innovative and work outside of the typical lane that we all hear about, right? They have to be able to move sideways and work together. That's what happened here. And then first and foremost, people who have yes in their heart. Every one of these organizations does this work. They do it on their own. They have all these resources that they bring to bear. They could have kept going in one direction alone, but people came with yes in their heart to figure this out in just a couple weeks time to really work through the details. It's a big effort. I believe Roadrunner serves about 400 families at these events. This isn't a small investment. So I want to say that we ask for a lot of things from schools within community schools, but we also want to make that effort and do those things at the systems levels as well, so that we can move forward as a community, not just as a single school, and that ecosystem is critical to all of our success. So again, thank you so much to everyone who was here today to present, that has shown up at 7:30 in the morning to make these events possible, for Roadrunner to opening their doors. I mean, this is their event. They said, come on in and we'll figure it out. And that's a lot of work on people that they didn't necessarily count on. So thank you to everyone. And thank you on behalf of the community that we were able to serve. Scott?
Yeah, I'm coming, sorry. Whew, I'm just running late everywhere. Anyways, that's really cool. I'm really glad. And I know people were posting questions in chat, and I hope they got answered. And if they weren't, we'll be sure to send something out to clarify that. But I really think that is, one of the things we keep talking about with the pandemic is new partnerships have developed out of necessity. And one of the things I want to hold on to coming out of the pandemic are these partnerships. I really hope we don't go back to the old siloed system of, well, schools do this, city does that, county does this. We need to be together. And I really appreciate everyone and your help. So thank you. I know we're running a little bit behind, so let's get into our next Strategic Action Committee progress report on robust implementation. I believe Ellen.
Good morning, everybody. We had a great feedback session that we set up here at the union office where we put, so just backing up, there are national standards for community schools, and we took those over the last year and made those New Mexico standards. And then Danette and Deanna and everybody at ABC made them into these great big posters that we hung all around this big room. And we invited people for 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of last week to drop in. They could take a sticky note and put them on any kind of comment in reaction or response or refinement of the standards that we had posted. And they walked around the room. We had teachers, principals, community school coordinators, people from the city. I don't know, I didn't see the sign in, Danette, so you, Deanna, can tell me if I'm missing somebody. On Thursday afternoon, Randy Weingarten, who is the national president of the American Federation of Teachers, and AFT as a union has been a big promoter and I don't know how else to say this, instigator, I don't think that's the right word, of the community schools movement for a long time, before Randy was president, back when Al Shanker was president. But community schools is a real important part of what AFT works on as a national union, making sure that there are opportunities for robust community schools everywhere in the nation. And so Randy got a moment to talk to those of us that were there on that day. She was able to look at what we're doing here in ABC, and of course, take ideas back with her to the national level. So I feel like we're moving forward, and the next step, I assume, Deanna, is to make sure that we incorporate the feedback that we got into fine-tuning our standards.
It is, and I did also want to mention that we sent the standards out virtually as well, so that people could give their feedback virtually too, in case they couldn't make it to the live events, although it was so nice to see everybody in person.
Oh yeah, that was cool, although masked. We were able to be, you know, next to each other. That was great. That's it.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Glad to hear that Ms. Weingartner took some things back and that we're in the forefront. That's always exciting. Danette, did you have anything you wanted to add to that, or was you unmuted?
No, it was just a great opportunity, and I'm hoping that folks will spread around the standards to their schools and teachers, that's gone out to teachers, just to make sure that we're really vetting what we're saying we think works as a collective.
Thank you. Great.
Deanna?
Well, the good that presentation got us right back on track. So now we're on to Ms. Townsend and ABC Technical Assistance and Support Structure.
Thank you so much. So as we've mentioned, I think over the last couple board meetings, we were anticipating a pretty significant growth in community schools within Bernalillo County this year. And we are now at 53 in the network, in the process of hiring a number of APS employed coordinators. And 2 of those are charter schools that are working within our network that are also under the umbrella of Albuquerque Public Schools. We have been working with the community school unit and also APS Title I to really think through how do we most effectively support all of these schools. This is a great problem to have, if you will, in really maximizing our capacity, both with the ABC team and then the infrastructure that is there at APS to help support community schools as well. So what we have come up with, and we have vetted this through the folks that we partner with in the district, is ABC Rise. And what this is really looking at what are the core functions that happen within a community school coordinator position, and really the big buckets, and what we believe are relationship building to influence change through strategic thinking, and then really effectively executing that. These are also the areas for the strengths finders. If you've seen the Gallup Strengths Finder, these are areas that connect to that. So we were looking at our training, professional development, technical assistance, and support for community school coordinators. And what we came up with was to create different cohorts. The first, with the most intensive support, are the new community schools. And these would be schools they're new to community schools, principal that's new to community schools, coordinators that are brand new, and that the technical assistance and professional development really will come from the ABC staff. As a team of collectively decades of community school content expertise, we believe that working with schools through their planning year, as well as the first few years of implementation, will really set the foundation for strong implementation long-term. And getting out in front of that and really helping to navigate that with folks will be the way that we set the trajectory to success. The second level will be the Cohort 2, which we're considering early implementation. First couple of years, maybe a planning year, they're in their first full year of implementation, really looking at community school principals who have less than a couple of years experience and less than 2 years experience as a community school, and the coordinators are also in that same boat. This will be support primarily will come from the ABC team as well. Both of these groups will have weekly training sessions. The early implementation will be every other week, monthly PD, and then the first level is dedicated office hours. So they know they can call and they have a certain day and time they can connect one-on-one if they need support to deal with maybe individual local school things they need to navigate or partnerships they may need to be working on. With the Cohort 2, it's open office hours. They can engage with the ABC staff when they need it. The last level is the Cohort 3. They're really folks that are in advanced implementation, and they have been doing this work for over 2 years. Their principals are experienced for the most part, and we're looking at really providing technical assistance as needed, and professional development is optional. They can come to the monthly PD sessions if they like. If they don't, that's okay as well. They can pick what they need to really improve from their perspective. This will come jointly from ABC and APS. APS is building infrastructure right now to support these 50 plus schools within their district. And we really want to enable that to move into a place of sustainability where ABC is more of the launch structure, APS is the same sustainability structure. We believe this will leverage both of our resources to the best of our ability. And that is what we're looking at for this year. This will also, of course, connect to our codebook work and evaluation of fidelity of implementation that's coming out of the robust implementation standards and codebook work. But we will present on that next month, as well as some of our online website tools that will be used and the data system that will also be launched by then, so we can see how we're going to measure this work. Deanna, can you move?
Yeah, it's okay if I just add, we will be going over this structure in more detail with the community school coordinators on the 20th of August, which is our very first annual professional development with them. So.
Scott, back to you.
I apologize. Well, this is fantastic. We went from being a little bit behind to suddenly we're way ahead. So I don't know if anybody had any announcements from that we wanted. We can post those in the chat. Danette, did you have anything you wanted to add or announce other than your meeting on the 20th?
So we'll be meeting on the 20th. It will be virtual. We're going to try and keep the virtual setting for now to make it really easily accessible to coordinators who also have a very full plate at their schools. But I would like to remind everyone that we have Coordinator Appreciation Week coming up September 20th to the 24th. And also just wanted to throw it back to anyone too, in case we missed a question, in the chat, or if anybody has any questions from what you heard today or burning questions that might be coming up.
Barbara, I don't know if you had something you wanted to say. I saw your chat comment there. I'll on you, I guess.
Since we weren't called on, I think Marjorie and I both figured that we didn't need to give a report for the collaborative leadership team, which we can do if it's desired. That I'll pass if it's not on the agenda.
I wouldn't mute myself. You're not on the agenda, or were you? Or just something you want to add? I see your name.
Well, since we did meet and since it came up, and we're early, I'll throw in a one minute announcement. We're really going to try to work with the robust implementation team that we really took on the task of defining collaborative leadership and feel like we've actually succeeded in that. And now it's really an issue of implementing. What does it look like? How do we do it? How do we intertwine, I guess that's the right word, collaborative leadership into all of the work of community schools? And that's what really is such a critical part and makes the community school framework and pillars not just a list of services, but something that really supports schools and transforms schools into really and truly in a new way meeting the needs of the community and their students. So that's what we're going to propose.
Okay, thank you. Danette, there was a question that came up in the chat right down there. I don't know if you wanted to, about students included in collaborative leadership and families.
Absolutely. So there's a number of levels, right? There are critical partners in the community school council at each community school, regardless of the grade level. Always student voice and parent voice should be sitting at that table in whatever works best for that school. So some elementary schools have students sitting on the council, some have the folks that are working directly with the student council at the elementary school level representing those students. High schools almost always have more than one student sitting on their community school council, really giving voice to what they are seeing and wanting within their schools. The other part is every school does a community assessment, and we are really deepening and broadening that work to be looking through an equity lens on that this year. We're in the midst of that. We will also be presenting on that from the equity committee will be presenting on that as they're the ones designing it. So that we are engaging in a more qualitative process that includes more voice for those students who maybe have, maybe they can't participate because they have jobs or families or that have jobs they can't and it conflicts. So we are looking at that, but every single school has a community school council. Every single school is expected to have parents that are not staff members of any of the organizations that sit on the council and student voice at that opportunity. So please connect with the community school coordinator. Sorry, I'm also trying to read the chat.
Yeah, keep up with the chat. Okay, well.
There's a question in the chat. Sorry, I'm sorry. Do you mind if I address that really quick?
Sure.
Or a comment actually that there are not students participating yet in some of the community school councils. And I would say if that's the case, I would bring that up in the council meeting and let's see how we can encourage that participation.
Also want to highlight that Jose Munoz has joined us today. Hi, Jose. And reminding us to keep an eye out for the Coalition for Community Schools Blueprint for the Future, which highlights collaborative leadership. This is the cornerstone. It is not about what we do in a community school. It's about how we decide and how we get to what we do. And collaborative leadership is the only way to get there.
Totally agree. I think that's a really positive message to pretty much end on. I would say to all the community school coordinators out there, if there are people looking for work, we could use bus drivers. We are really short, and it's mostly in one of our contractors, and it's having a major impact. So we're looking into some financial, ways to maybe bring more people in, but we're working our best to get those kids to school, and we got into school yesterday, and it was a good start. And a lot of the schools I went to, it felt really good, and it was just nice to see everyone back together. We're going to do everything we can to stay in school. So thank you all for all your support. The community schools are a huge part of keeping our community healthy and safe and fed and all the wonderful things and educated. So thank you all very much, and I believe we are adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.